Kennedy, the mayor, and other council members decided to start designating streets after soldiers that lived in Belleville lost in war serving our country. It's a very honorable thing to do. A lot of these people are forgotten. They should never be forgotten. I'd like to thank a couple people just for showing up. Introduce some dignitaries. Mayor Ray Kimball, Councilman John Nattori, Board of Ed Trustees Chris Lamparello and Nelson Barrera, Councilman Vincent Cosarelli, and Dan Mitchell from Brendan Gill's office. And thank everybody for coming, the public and any other dignitaries that I missed. We're going to start out with Jack Kane, the past commander from the state DAV, is going to come up to do the Pledge of Allegiance. DFW.
Please join with me to salute the flag of the United States and make the Pledge of Allegiance. Present, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order,
I'd like to do a moment of silence for the people that were killed in Belgium in the terrorist attacks. Thank you. And Bill Crowell's here, Crowell, the wife of Roger Crowell. I'd like her to come up and unveil this street sign with Councilman Kennedy. Should we do the speeches first? All right. Bill's going to unveil the sign designating the street. Very good. Very good. And then we're just going to start with some short speeches, starting with Councilman Kennedy. I went to the mayor and the rest of my council members a few months ago. I have nothing against street naming. You want to name a street after Connie Francis, that's fine. You want to name a street after the detectives or whatever the hell they were called, that's fine too. But for far too long, there was no streets named for the people that went off to war and got killed. So my idea was to name the streets where they live in memory of them. So there's how many? 101? There's 155 that have been killed since World War I up till the Vietnam War and killed in peacetime. So what I'm going to do with the help of Anthony here, he had a lot of addresses. So what I'm trying to do first is name the streets where the people lived on, and then we're going to work on going back into the old phone books from the 1940s and try to find where these other soldiers lived. So we can do that street, and hopefully by the end of this year I'll have every street where these soldiers lived that got killed named after them. So that's my basic plan. And I'd like to bring up Anthony now. Without his help I couldn't do this because he had the list of everyone who got killed. Their service and all. He wrote a book that he doesn't have for sale today, but he wrote a book about each soldier, so he's going to bring you up on Roger's bio. Oh yeah, Mayor, you want to talk? Let the mayor come up and talk first. He's long-winded, and yeah, I'll be here a while. This is Mayor Kimball, and he's been a lot of help to me doing these streets.
It's so nice to see everyone here to honor the memory of Roger Crowell. I see he was killed almost 50 years ago in Vietnam. I think it was 48 to be exact. I looked at the awards and the medals that he received. I'm going to read it because I know I couldn't memorize them. He was awarded the Purple Heart, the Distinguished Service Cross, a Bronze Star, 2 Purple Hearts it was, the Combat Infantry Badge, and the South Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry. So, being in the Army myself, I guess he was one hell of a soldier. And it's nice to see everybody here with this street name inside. The memory of Roger will always last. And the people, his family, the Vietnamese veterans, and all the other veterans should be proud and take honor of the street name that's coming forward, led by Councilman Kennedy. Again, thank you all for coming, and it's really an honor to be here.
You're up, man. All right, Andy. This is Anthony Tiona. He used to work for the Belleville Times, and he does all the research and work to help me a lot on this.
About almost 15, 16 years ago, I was at a Nutley dedicated World War II memorial with 89 names on it, and I looked at that and I said, I don't know any of these people. I don't know any of these soldiers. And so for the past 15 years, we've been learning about them. We looked up all the soldiers from Nutley, and of course, since I grew up in Belleville, we wanted to know all about the soldiers in Belleville. And so ultimately, we came up with a book format of just the Belleville guys and one for Nutley. And even though it's 15 years since I started the project, I'm still hearing from people with connections to these soldiers. Someone wrote and said, you have my uncle's picture on your website and in your book, and my grandmother had that on a piano, and my mother had it in her house, and my mother's gone, and the picture's gone, and the only thing that says my uncle lived is what's in your book. So, to be here today, to carry on the honoring and the memory of these soldiers, I am very humbled. I want to thank you all for coming out on such a beautiful and sunny day. In the last century, 155 Belleville sons died while in service to our country. World War I took 20, World War II took 117, Korea took 5, and we're here to pay tribute to one of the 11 Belleville young men who lost their lives in Vietnam. Roger was killed January 31st, 1968. He and his brother, Roger and his brother Winfield, and his sister Della, grew up at 100 Tiona Avenue, which is the house that's for sale. Part of history is right there. They attended School 5 around the corner on Greylock Parkway. Roger went to the high school. He graduated in 1965. Roger was very active in the Belleville Little League. He was noticed. And a few years ago, they actually set out a memorial in center field for Roger. When his draft notice came, he married his high school sweetheart. Not once, not twice, 3 times. In June, September, and December. And the young couple only had like 4 days together, plus a little bit of Roger's time, but they made the most of it, and they had a Roger Jr. And Roger, Crowell, was able to get home the day after his son was born to visit. 48 years ago, Roger was taken from us. He served in the U.S. Army and attained the rank of Specialist 4. He was assigned to the 1st Platoon, C Troop, 3rd Squadron, 4th Cavalry Regiment, 25th Infantry Division. He was killed in action on January 31st when an armored personnel carrier he was driving was hit by rockets. But that doesn't tell Roger's story. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, Bronze Star, 2 Purple Hearts, and other things that the mayor had mentioned. But here's the story of a young Belleville son you might not know. While serving as a tank driver in an armored platoon division on a reaction mission during the Tet Offensive, his platoon was called to reinforce friendly soldiers, and they were engaged in a fierce firefight. While moving into the battle site, the platoon was subject to savage enemy fire, automatic weapons, and small arms fire. Crowell's tank was struck by 3 anti-tank rockets, and his commander said, "Everybody out." But heedless of his own safety and amid hostile fire, Roger unhesitatingly left the driver's compartment and climbed into the tank. Alone, he quickly loaded and fired 18 devastatingly accurate cannon rounds on the attacking insurgents. When continuing enemy rocket fire rendered the main gun inoperable, Roger fearlessly exposed himself to the relentless fusillade and raked the hostile positions with a hail of bullets from the tank's machine gun until he was struck by enemy small fire and instantly killed. Crowell's extraordinary heroism and devotion to duty at the cost of his life were in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit upon himself, his unit, and the U.S. Army. Belleville and our country must be proud of Roger Crowell. We here today must be proud of him. His service to our country cost him his life. His wife lost a husband, his son lost a father he never knew, and his parents lost a son. Belleville lost a brave young man. God bless you, Roger.
Any of the family like to say anything?
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. The family's going to be having refreshments at Post 105, the American Legion, next to the new motorcycle mall on Washington Avenue. Everybody's welcome to join them for some refreshments.
On behalf of the Mayor and Council, I want to thank you all for coming out, and I want to thank all our veterans here. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
I think I'm going to cut out.